Is this where you want to sit for the meeting?
Huh? However we got, I mean, I gotta stand up and do it, don't I?
If you're able to stand up, you
Oh,
don't
yeah,
have
sure.
to.
828, right?
Because I can put the video right here. And
Whatever works.
It should see us. It's not on now.
Well, it's saying that I'm putting in the wrong information. Okay, I gotta go get by a better.
Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting, Fraser Park Public Utility District to order. Thursday, February 23rd, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance to the flag. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call directed. Director Nyman. Here. Director Kelling.
Here.
Director Schoenberg. Director Schoenberg's absent. Director Gibson.
Give her 1 second. She's connecting right now.
Okay, we'll wait for Director Gibson.
Thank you.
Okay, where should I be?
Go ahead. Director. Roll call directors. Director Gibson, are you present?
Hi there, present.
Thank you. I'm Director Garcia. And I'll be calling the meeting. Item number 2. Tiffany will be swearing in an elected board member. Director Gibson. Tiffany, are you ready?
You ready, Tiffany?
I am turning on. I just need to click it. And be in that.
Stand.
Can you go a little lower, Tiffany?
Barely see the top of your head.
There.
There, that's good. We can see it
Perfect.
now.
Okay, it's just lighting a little bit.
Actually, move it completely out, Tiff.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to get it to know.
Okay, there. What?
That's good.
No, it's I need it back.
All we see her is belly.
Hey, do you want to try it and put it on my bookshelf over there? Okay,
Just stand back a little bit.
okay, stand up.
Stand back.
Back, okay.
Okay,
There you
Yeah.
go.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, so we are going to swear you in, so you to raise your right hand. I, and state your name,
I, Rebecca Gibson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the Constitution
and allegiance to the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservations
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about.
upon which I am about to enter.
Good, that's it, and I'm gonna turn off the camera and see you back in the office.
Thank you, Tiffany. Okay, number 3.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for doing this.
So you can stand there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to go in my bedroom.
Go ahead and mute yourself. Thank you. Okay, number 3, discussion vote to adjust the agenda if necessary. Any adjustments needed, board?
No.
Number 4, Public comments. Anyone in the audience have public comments that won't be addressed on the agenda items? Not seeing any, we'll move to,
Where do I sign it?
I beg your pardon?
She's talking to Tiffany.
Yeah, Becky, you need to mute yourself, please.
Okay, sorry.
Number 5, ad hoc committee reports, project committee. The thing was the budget adjustment, wasn't it?
Yeah, there was the budget adjustment. Basically, everything that we did in the state update meeting will be going over on all the different items. So there's really no need to discuss any of that.
Check, copy that. Accounts payable committee,
We met. And we had Deborah cut the checks.
There wasn't anything,
nothing outstanding.
nothing outstanding
Remarkable.
or remarkable, as you say. Yeah.
Thank you. And the financial committee,
She's not here to report on it.
isn't there 2 people on it?
Becky
Oh,
and
sorry, okay.
both of them.
We will not have a report from the financial committee as of yet. Financial business, number 6, discussion vote on accounts payable, financial information. Good evening, Deborah, are you with us?
I am with you. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, you have the floor.
Okay. We cut 6 checks from the revenue operating account totaling $2,983.32. There were no extraordinary disbursements at 3,000 or above.
Excellent. I see them all delineated here.
The only that was kind of,
Terry, you have the floor.
the only thing that was off was we got a bill back from Kennelly Plumbing, is that how you say it?
Yes,
From August of last year. They did.
it was never paid or
That was
never.
They never billed it.
They never submitted it. She found it kind of as she was cleaning some files out for,
And we took care of it.
we took care of it. It
Excellent.
was only $200.
Beautiful. I see it right here.
I will make a motion that we pay our bills.
Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Pay our bills. Roll call of directors. Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. Director Gibson, are you with us?
We just lost her.
Okay, well, then we have 3 ayes, 0 nays, 1 in communication and 1 absent. Motion passed. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Deborah. I think that's all we're gonna need you for.
Okay, thank you. Everybody have a good evening and a good
Have a-
weekend.
Yes, hunker down, would you? Okay,
going
number 7.
I, at this moment, I don't believe that we need to meet in closed session. Director Schoenberg may have an idea of that, but at this point, I make a motion that we table 7 and 8.
Excellent.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded that we table the closed session. Roll call of directors. Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson, are you with us? And Director Schoenberg is absent. Director Garcia is an aye. We have a 3, 0, 0, 1 absent. Motion carried. Motion table. Okay, number 9. Discussion vote update on the Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project. A, discussion vote, review of the project timeline. D, do you have any news on the timeline? D,
Dee, you need to unmute yourself.
I know you're with us, but I just don't hear anything.
No, I was just out of the office momentarily. checking
Okay,
Okay,
on some things. So I missed. What I'm,
okay, we're on number 9D. Discussion vote update on the Fraser Park, Lake of the Woods Consolidation Planning Project.
Can we turn off that bar a little bit?
Letter A is the review of the project timeline. Is there any update on that?
yeah, our MSR is going to be finished in March, not April, not February this year. I have just about done with everything that needs to be done on my end. Ken Smith's got to look a little bit more at the water quality parts of that, and then the stuff gets sent over to Ravish, and then he does his stuff. Part of the of what we're doing is also updating the budget for the regional project to what we think is going to be a 2024 cost. And so we've been working on that too. It's quite expensive, that's for sure. 20 million plus. We have the details. We're working through the details right now. So we'll have the budget part of that done, and the 2 engineering reports that we're responsible for. And then Ken Smith's stuff, if he wants to modify any of that. I actually want to look at some of the water quality that you folks just sent over, Pam, and just see how pumping levels, if they're stabilized or if they're dropping. And then that information will go to Ken, and he can modify the report if there are any substantial changes.
Okay, thank you. That's actually A and B. So C, discussion on the project technical memo.
That'll be the next thing we'll be working on. And we're looking at,
We still have to vote on the budget adjustment request.
Oh, my bad.
oh, what is that?
Back on B, that's the letter.
It's the $20,000 budget revision.
Okay, I'll just quickly just read
Director
the,
Nyman, would you bring us up to speed on that?
okay, so we discussed with Lawrence in the meeting, in the state update meeting, asking to change the budget. We want to increase the consolidation engineering from 17,000 to 22,000 for engineering costs, increase the consolidation MSR from 20,000 to 35,000 for MSR costs, and we're going to reduce the contingency from by $20,000. So we have this letter that's sent to Lawrence for his approval. And so I don't see anything wrong with this letter. I think everything looks good. And so I would make a motion.
Thank you.
I'd make a motion that we approve the budget request. The adjustment request.
I will second that.
Thank you. Roll call of directors. Okay, good. Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg.
Here.
Beautiful. You joining us? On the budget adjustment?
The letter for the budget adjustment.
You and I are.
Are you and I or?
Okay, and is Director Gibson on the line?
Yes, I.
Okay, 500. Motion has been passed. Thank you. 9C, discussion vote on the project technical memo. And D, you were saying that was your next project to attack?
yes, that's the next thing on my desk. And started with that. with the budget, and then we'll be moving ahead to discuss the various options that we have.
Now, is that technical memo D, that has to do with, does that have to do with the wells itself, or is that all inclusive of everything?
It's all inclusive, and it includes some options. I've got to review several options to what we've proposed and conclude that they're not feasible. But that's part of the technical analysis.
Okay.
Okay, D, discussion vote on the production well property appraisals and acquisition.
Well, let's see, I talked to the ad hoc committee about this last Thursday. We did meet with Jeff French and Emily Wainwright, and we reviewed where the proposed well site is with respect to the lot lines. Jeff then went up and surveyed the particular lot. It's the north lot, and sent us a layout of that lot with the proposed well site on it. And so we're firmly within the northerly lot. APN, I think it's the last number is 54. And so we're looking at that site now to determine just what we need in order to develop the well there, well 9. And so we're working on a layout there with, and we are looking at what we would have to do in order to kind of alter the project a bit and move up the line from well 9 to Lake of the Woods and drill well 9 before we drill well 8. We're looking at that as well.
There's a possibility,
Yep.
Okay,
but that all depends upon whether we're able to supply and do the backflow. Is that not correct, D?
Right. Take it back into Fraser Park,
System.
into our system.
okay. Letter E, discussion vote on the property appraisal and early drilling of well 8.
On that,
Go ahead, D.
I was just going to mention that Mike Ming and I had a conversation about timing, and he's moving it up as fast as he can. He said, he will have it by the middle of March, but try to get it a little bit earlier if he can.
Okay. Drilling of 8.
Yeah.
We had to do another appraisal.
Yeah.
F.
Oh, just
Excuse me,
quickly,
go ahead.
just to let you know, Director Schoenberg, we tabled the closed session 7 and 8. So I figured you'd be okay with that.
Okay, letter F, discussion and vote on the acquisition and development of well number 9 property.
So I know we already talked about that a little already, but can I ask you a question?
Please, Director Schoenberg.
Dee, so you were gonna try to look at the design a little bit, and see, what we would need, and I know that's gonna come up on another item as well, but were you able to look at anything in relationship to the possibility of that back feed to Fraser Park?
I ran some preliminary hydraulics on that, Lisa, and I haven't tied it all the way back into the system. I've looked at what the pressures are at the tie point, and I think we can make it work. But I've got to, Curtis runs the hydraulics on the system, and he has the system modeled. And so I've handed that over to him to take a look at that because what I've done is basically some pencil calculations, and those aren't as accurate and don't take into account the entirety of the system. So we're working on that, and I think we can make it work.
And Dee, do we have any idea when we might have a meeting with Emily Wainwright and Jeff French?
I haven't scheduled anything yet. I wanted to kind of get a rough layout before we did that, and we are working on that now.
Now that the survey has been done, you can sort of place yourself within the property and know where you're gonna place the well. Is that
Yeah.
it, Dee?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And so one more question, and do you have any idea from what you looked at initially? Whether we might need a tank or a booster at that site or close to that site, or would we, and that's to go the other way to Lake of the Woods? I don't know, I mean, obviously it's critical going both directions now.
Yeah,
Were you,
I have looked at that. And there's a couple of different options that I ran, and it looks like in order to make this work for the to go to the tanks at Lake of the Woods, we'd have to put in the Bear Court lift station in order to get the water, lifted high enough to make it to the tanks, without running the pressures at well 9 way up. Although we are looking at that, and if we'd probably have to run well 9 at over 200 psi, over 100 psi, 150, 200 psi, I think, in order to do that. And so again, we need to look at the feasibility of actually putting that water up into those tanks. And I think the most feasible thing to do, although it may not be the quickest thing to do, would be to also build the booster station that we had planned for Bear Court, tie to that with a tank booster pumping plant, and then pump on into the high tanks there at Lake of the Woods. But again, we're looking at a couple of options there, and I need to really look at the entire hydraulics of the system in order to make a definite conclusion there.
Tiffany,
In the chat, Joan is asking, she said, Tiffany, could you ask Dee if he has a ballpark timeline on the technical memo?
okay,
Yeah, Joan is asking if you have a ballpark timeline on the technical memo.
It's probably a couple of months away, about 60 days probably, to do the whole thing. To look at just the the intertype from well 9 to Lake of the Woods, we could speed that up. But we have to look at a number of options for in that technical memorandum process. We have to look at the options, cost them out, and then make a judgment call as to the feasibility, which is the best option is. So it's not just a really straightforward, easy thing to do. But I think Lawrence would be happy if we ran the analysis from well 9 to Lake of the Woods, and just considered what we need to do to supply Lake of the Woods at this point in time.
So just to update the board,
Director Nyman, please update us.
the reason why we we're looking at the possibility of going to well 9 first was because Lake of the Woods has had some problems with one of their wells. And so we are trying to see the feasibility of maybe trying to develop that early. And which means that's probably some of the infrastructure early. And at the same time, be able to backflow into Fraser Park system to supply us before we can develop well 8. So that's what we're looking at. We don't know if that's going to be feasible. If it is, we'll do that. Otherwise, we're going to go the other route. But that's why we're looking at this.
That was covered very well in the notes from your meeting.
Okay.
And I wanted to congratulate you on writing a real concise and complete set of notes for that. I wasn't at the meeting, yet I felt like I knew what was going on throughout the whole meeting by reading those. So
Thank you.
major kudos on that. Okay, Dee, let's move on to number 9, as that was tabled. Discussion, vote, update on sphere of influence map for the annexation.
Of course, that's been completed and submitted to LAFCO. And so that's why it's really tabled, because it's completed. But the other part of that is item H coming up. So I can move to item H, but I didn't know whether we needed to have further discussion on G.
Got G, and moving on to H, discussion vote on project municipal service review, MSR, quote, the draft MSR, data collection, scope of work, and LAFCO.
Like I mentioned a little earlier, I probably should pay more attention to the agenda, but I am working on the engineering part of the MSR. There are really 2 reports that I'm doing. One is done, the other one is nearly complete. And the first one has to do with demands. And we discussed that a little bit, I think, at the last meeting, and regarding the demands of Lake of the Woods and the extra demands that we put into the report. This is an update of the 2015 report. And we included, I think, all the billable lots, Joan, that were could be possibly be added to the Lake of the Woods service area. And those would be part of the 300 additional lots that we included in the analysis, just to provide for some growth and some fill in between Lake of the Woods and Fraser Park, and have a little bit of excess capacity available beyond that. So the capacity report has been written in draft form, and I'm now working on the hydrology part of that, which is look at the basin and look at how much groundwater we have available and how much demand we put on it every year, and will it last through an extended drought, which we're currently in. Kind of hard to believe it when it's snowing all over the place, but anyway, we still are in a drought period, and this is probably one of the wet years in the middle of a bunch of dry years. I hope not, but anyway, we're looking at the extension of the drought and what might happen to the water stored in the Cuddy Creek Basin over the next 5 years, to make sure that we'll have enough groundwater to supply both communities.
Carrie, did you have a question?
Yeah, D, on those 300, are they single family homes that you're talking about?
Yeah,
Or are they a multiple?
well, they are single. They're basically, what I've used is the demands of Fraser Park that are higher than the demands of Lake of the Woods right now on a per connection basis. And so I've applied the Fraser Park capacities per connection to Lake of the Woods current service area, and also then added in the projected lot developments in Lake of the Woods. And those are much less than the 300 that I initially included in the 2015 analysis that I did. So there 300 connections, and it's the average amount that's used per connection in Fraser Park applied to 300 additional connections. So that's quite a bit of water.
Right, so just to be,
Director Nyman.
just to be clear, the 300 connections is for Fraser Park and Lake of the Woods. It's not exclusively for Lake of the Woods. It is for 300 connections across the board that has to be approved by the board when they come and ask for a connection.
Yeah,
That's the future growth.
Right.
Thank
yeah, I
you.
just didn't know if it included business as well as duplexes. Kind of thing.
All residentials. All single family residents.
Yeah, typically, single family residents will use more than the interior water in a duplex is, of course, twice what you'd see in a single family residence. But on the single family residences, you usually have some landscaping that drive the demands up a bit as well. So, you know, if those were all commercial or all duplexes, we would probably, you know, it might be 250 or 200 additional single family connections, but at any rate, it's quite a bit of water.
Director Schoenberg, you had a question?
Yeah, so the amount of water you're anticipating, because I understand from what you're saying that you're anticipating the same amount of water currently used in Fraser Park, which means if Lake of the Woods went back to watering like 2 times a week. But is that an average over the entire year, or what month are you using to make that, just so I have an idea?
I looked at all of that. I looked at Lake of the Woods, and I also looked at Fraser Park 5-year average, and then I looked at the maximum month for Fraser Park, and then factored that in order to have plenty of capacity. You know, it's pretty evident that over the last 5 years, we've reduced our demands because of the drought. And of course, Lake of the Woods has, you know, they're very minimal demands. And so what I've tried to provide for is what I think we'd consider a normal demand with some landscaping over the next, you know, as we get out of the drought and hopefully get the system built. So it's a conservative look, but it's not over the top conservative. I think it's a suitable amount of extra capacity that we can do pretty much whatever we need to with.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Letter I, discussion vote on the memorandum of understanding.
We're not there yet. We can't do that until we have them as our.
Okay, well, I'm gonna skip I. We're gonna keep it on board. We'll carry it over till we're ready. J, discussion vote on Lake of the Woods projects and consolidation.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes,
Pam.
please go ahead, Pam.
Okay, so our $3.5 million grant hopefully will be executed in the next week, Lawrence thought, and then it'll be modified to include the generators that we're working on. We also are working with our engineers to do, you know, an update on well number 4, what possibly could be going wrong with it, what we can do to improve production. And we'll get that memo to you guys once we have it. And then the 3.5 is still moving along with all the other forms that need to be done. Do you guys have any questions for us?
What was the work that was done on well 4 prior to it failing or starting to fail?
So we had a well repair company come out, pull it. We replaced a lot of the piping that went down into the well, cleaned it, did a wash, scrubbed it, and then put it all back together with new piping. So, or new casing in there. And it's still not coming back. Even today, I don't know if you saw, Dee, that there was the sounding, the recharge on it, it just kept dropping.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Uh,
so
yeah,
Thank you, Pat.
I'm sorry.
So similar to what we did to 5 a few years back.
okay.
Okay. Discussion and vote on claim 27 or other claims and payouts.
That's Carlos.
Carlos? You with us?
Yeah, we have $416.66 for project management and administration. We have a legal invoice from legal 97902. Excuse the baby crying. In the total amount of $97.50. We have a staff recovery cost in the amount of $76.38. And then we have an invoice from D Jasper and Associates, invoice number 23-00114 in the amount of $14,706. We have that same invoice from D Jasper and Associates 23-00114 for Tesla admin in the amount of $816. And then we have one more invoice from D Jasper and Associates, which was billed under meters accidentally, so now it came back to us. It's invoice number 23-00168 in the amount of 1,020, bringing the total claim to $17,132.54.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve claim number 27 in the amount of $17,132.54 with the information that Carlos had provided and the invoices he had provided.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call directors. Director Nyman.
Aye.
Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Schoenberg. Director Gibson.
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0. Motion carried. Okay, moving on to number 10. Discussion vote update on FPPUD meter replacement project and emergency well supply project. A, discussion vote and update on well number 7.
Same song, 10th verse, no information from the lab yet. I don't
Our
know.
water quality.
That's for the water quality, that's right. So Johnny, have you been able to get results from these guys?
Well, I don't know. Did you go to BT Labs?
I believe it went to BC and then they sent it up for uranium.
Yeah, no, I talked to using them when they lost their accreditation, and I go to Santa Paula, and we did a uranium on well 5 like 3 weeks ago, and we got the results back. I don't know what's going on with PC or Pace Analytical as it's called now.
Well, we'll chase it. We'll keep chasing it until we get the stuff back.
Okay, moving on to B, discussion vote update on the meter replacement.
Well, we have the signed contract. We're well within budget. We've got lots of money left over in the project. So, you know, the contract is signed. We're sending it out to Jeff Bruff let's see, tomorrow or the next day, I forget which, but anyway, that is, he'll be formally, he'll have the formal signed document. I think what bears on this is the AMR versus AMI, which is the next topic. If I move over into that. We have plenty of money in there for AMR versus AMI. The thing that I thought that we had talked about this, Johnny, but maybe we didn't, maybe in the ad hoc committee. But what we were wanted to make sure everybody was aware of, that there is additional cost to the AMI system, which is about $10,000 to $20,000 a year cost for the AMI metering system. And of course, the AMI is the one where you get all the information at the office, and the meters, you don't have to have a meter reader reading the meters at all. You don't have to drive through the service area. It's all brought into the district via either internet, cell phone, or radio. And so there is a cost to that, but the savings is probably at least one meter reader.
And I was trying to find the email. Oh, here it is. From Curtis, you were guessing 10 to 20. Curtis said that he found out that for about 1,250 meters, it would run somewhere around 8,000 to 10,000 per year for it. So it's cheaper than we thought. So I'm gonna definitely recommend that we go with the upgraded system.
The AMI?
Yeah, which one's the one that reads it in the office is the AMI, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one we want.
Now, are we sure that we're going to be able to read it's going to be able to do that, D, all over the valley?
There's a couple of different surveys that they do in order to determine which is the best way to do this, either with a radio or cell phones. So that would be part of the work that Bruff would undertake as we move ahead with the project to determine the best method to use.
Now, is there also a backup to that? Like if for some reason it's failing, is there a way for us to go and we could just go read it or drive by it and read it? Or is there a backup to that?
Yeah, you can always go visit them and pull the meter lid off and read the register. There's a register on there that you can read. So, we wouldn't be left without being able to get the readings. I don't know whether I'm thinking that we could probably use a drive-by type of an installation as a backup, but you have to have that software as well. So, I don't think that would be needed. I think at the worst, you'd have to go read them again. But I don't think it's worth putting in the software and having the computers available to drive the system. That's my thought on it. I haven't explored it. I haven't explored that specifically, Rama.
Johnny, do you have a question?
No, I just have a statement. I know from talking to other water companies that when the radios are working, whether you do a drive-by or it's broadcast to the front desk, it's still a read. If the meters are broadcasting, it's gonna get back to the office or go to the handheld, one or the other. So the only thing that would go down potentially is something like the cell signal or the radio signals. Chances are pretty likely that we'd be able to cover with radio signals because they could repeat. We're not like in some areas where there's like a big old giant mountain in between. There's a couple of hills like between Pine Canyon and East End that we would have to contend with, but most of it all looks down on this valley right here. So I think when they do the propagation study, whatever they call it, they'll be able to figure out the best way to do that with the radios. And so we still get the reads. And like Dee said, we still they're just like a regular meter, but with an antenna. So if we have to read them, we can.
Director Schoenberg had a question. Go ahead.
But it seems like we want to cover all of our bases, like if there was something weird with transmitting the signal from there to the office, but the signal was transmitting fine or could be transmitting fine to a handheld. It makes sense to me that we would want to pay for that software if it's not a really crazy outrageous price in order to do the handhelds as well, because when it's snowing or whatever, we don't really want to have them get out of the car if they don't have to and like, you know, open up the meter box and, you know, clean it off and try to do all that, which they can if it was, you know, really, if we couldn't get it any other way, but it seems to me that it would make sense to cover all of our bases.
See, the thing is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
I know normally what you're saying is if it's getting to the radios, it's gonna get to here.
What I also could add is that if it's something like that, it's working normally. And then there's some kind of hitch in the get up. You call your tech guy out to find out why, because normally it takes us a week to get all the meter reads done. The first day we go to do it, if it doesn't read or it doesn't read all of them for whatever reason, we call the tech guy, he comes out here, he fixes what the issue is. It's not that complicated, simple radio signals. And then we still get our reads in.
But you don't feel like it would be appropriate if it's a separate software for
I
the
think the separate
handhelds?
software may,
Cost prohibitive or no?
that too. I mean, last time I heard, I thought the software was like $25,000 and I think you pay for it per year. I could be wrong about that aspect, but, I think they have enough of these systems in place to where they're pretty fail safe. And I've never heard of people not being able to get their reads off of it.
Nor have I, but we can sure explore that option and give you the cost and the feasibility of doing that as we move ahead.
I just want to make sure, Dee, that since we have the budget for things, that we make sure that all of our bases are covered before we, that if we're able to do something like that, and if it's not overly cost prohibitive on a yearly basis, it might be something for us to look at, because I don't want us to get into saying, okay, we're gonna do this AMI, and then we find there's some little giddy up over here that causes us extra problems, and we still have to go out and meter read. And I just want to make sure that if we're going to do this, I want to make sure that it's working for us, because it's good for our people and for our system.
Johnny?
Yeah, we could also, when you're making up your mind, and I'm sure that Ryan, the sales rep for Neptune, would also be willing to at least call in on the Zoom or whatever, if you guys had any questions about that aspect of it. He's a pretty nice guy that's been working with us. He's not making the money off it. He's just the
Rep.
he's the guy that knows all about it. So we could also do that possibly.
Okay, let's go to C. Oh, sorry.
I mean, I just want to say, I think there's no question that we want we want to be able to read it here in the office and at the meters. That I don't think is a question in my mind. It's just, what if for some reason it doesn't, the signal getting to here is problematic.
And on that topic, Curtis has been asking me what your guys' choice is going to be, because he needs to define that before he sends the letter to Bruff.
I think we've said AMI,
Okay.
Okay.
right?
Yeah, we did, but what I'm saying is, but you also want the backup plan, so does that have to be included in what Curtis does with assigning the contractor? Could that just be added as a change order, do you?
I think we can look at that and do a little bit of just do a little bit of research and figure out what might be needed in order to do that as we move ahead with the AMI system. That's not going to be a big deal. We'll cover the bases with it and give you the options, but we do have a lot of reserve in this grant, and certainly we want to be able to take advantage of that if we can, and if indeed there is a way to do that makes sense. So we'll take a look at it, make a recommendation to you, but we can always do that with a change order with the contractor.
Director Schoenberg?
I'm just concerned about change orders, Steve, because of what happened with Lake of the Woods with them, you know, having potential issues when they tried to do I mean, I think that it ended up going through, right? But I just don't wanna see yeah, I think it's better to do it at the beginning than to try to do a change order.
Well, we'll take a look at that and give you a recommendation, but I do think we need to tell the contractor to move ahead with this.
You gotta get the orders in.
Yeah,
C. Or you still have to vote. Oh, I'm sorry. You're D, you're RC.
Discussion vote on the bridge loan for meter replacement.
You know, there's two C's there. That's what's gonna be on. You guys, you guys
First
still-
and second C.
you guys have to vote on the first C.
Oh,
I think we've already, long before this, said AMI.
Okay, well, let's vote on it. It doesn't, or I make a motion that we go with the AMI meter system. And that we also instruct D to look into any additional backup systems that might go along with that.
so is your motion the AMI meter system with the monitoring?
Yes.
well, okay, I think I understand what, issue the contract, get him going. And then look into, you know, the contract is signed, it's ready to go. It has very specific language in it as to what we're going to do. And then we'll explore whether or not, you know, what we might need to do in order to provide the backup, if indeed it makes any sense. We don't have any clients that have that situation. And they've not had that situation with having, you know, meters fail and being left out in the dark. There's no reports of that happening at all. But nevertheless, we will look at it, and you know, we can come up with a reasonable number to get that covered. And then if we want to cover it, then we can do that. We can issue a change order. But that's right now, we have a contract that's signed with very specific language in it to do the AMI.
Thank you, Dean. Do I have a second to the motion on the table?
Well, that's, we've already instructed Ruff to go ahead with the AMI.
I know, it doesn't make any sense, but I'll go second the motion that we don't really need that because we've already discussed this, but okay.
You have a motion on the floor, has been seconded, roll call directors. Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye, 500. AMI it is.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Dean. C, second C, discussion vote on the bridge loan for meter replacement.
I don't,
Didn't that go already go through?
yeah, there's no discussion, it's just we need to, if we need
It's
it.
in place. So I don't have any need for it yet, is that correct? That's what the notes are reflected on the special meeting earlier. Director Nyman.
I have one question, Oscar. How long does it take for us to get those funds if we decide that we need those funds?
You know what? I'm not too sure how long it takes, but from what I understood from Jesse, it's pretty rapid turnaround, like within a couple days.
Jesse told us it was quick.
Okay, great.
Okay, I just want to be clear on that because I mean, at this point, I don't think we've asked for it, because there will be a question when we get to that claim 12.
Okay. D, discussion vote on claim 12 and other claims and payouts.
That's you, Oscar.
For claim 12, we have from phase 1 from the well, we have a progress payment number 3 from United Field Services Corporation, and that's in the amount of $324,956.18. And then 2 invoices from D, and they're both coming out of the construction management. One is for Will 7 project correspondence developments, and that's invoice 23-00117. And that's in the amount of $2,393.42. And then we have one for the meter replacement project for correspondence from D. And that's invoice number 23-00118 in the amount of $159. And then we have another invoice coming out of the administration, and that's for legal services for Well 5 from Young and Woolridge, invoice number 97903 in the amount of $422.50, which brings the total amount of claim number 12 to $327,931.10.
Okay, I will make a motion that we approve claim number 12 in the amount of $327,931.10.
Director Schoenberg,
I'll wait for the second and then,
I'll second that.
okay,
Director Schoenberg,
so I do believe that we should get the bridge loan on this
Okay,
300.
can we finish our? You could talk
No,
about.
this is discussion. You have finished.
discussion, go ahead, Director Schoenberg.
Okay, well, that would be the question to D. I mean, how soon are they expecting this payment?
On the meter replacement project, is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the Unified Field Services project payment 3 for $300 and some odd $1,000.
Well, we work with the contractors and you know, by law, we're supposed to pay them within 30 days of the invoice, I think is what the rule is, but the state never gets us the money even close to that amount of timing. So as you guys know, so we generally work with a contractor and normally we can stretch that out a bit. I haven't talked to Curtis about what Unified's, you know, situation is with respect to that invoice. I can do that and get back to you on that. But normally normally the contractors will work with us on the timing. So if we get it within the next 30, 45 days, I think we'll be fine.
Director Schoenberg,
I'd like to make an amendment to that motion, if you'll accept it, that $324,956.18 be applied for as part of the bridge loan. And when we get that we can pay the contractor at that point. And then when we get the money from the state, we will reimburse for the bridge loan. So because the bridge loan revolves.
I accept that friendly amendment.
okay,
Accept that.
motion has been made, seconded, accepted a friendly amendment, roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0, motion carried.
So my question to Oscar is, what do we need to do now to get that money?
Okay, so to get that money, there's a form that needs to be filled out, and that form will also include the bank and routing number to which those funds will be going to.
Tiffany,
So if we're not gonna use the meter well account, if you're gonna open a new one, we'll need to do that so we can have the routing number.
Well, we would use the meter well.
I suggested we don't do that and that we have a bridge loan account so we can track it.
Makes sense to me, and keeps it very clean.
You know what's coming in and going out of it.
So what, you're gonna pay out of the bridge loan account to? You're gonna get a checking account with a check from the bridge loan to pay that check.
Yeah, so that we can constantly, because that bridge loan theoretically is gonna keep going in and out every time we need it, so.
That track those funds.
It might be easier to do that. I mean, it would cost us a little extra for the checks, but. And yes, I know we always have issues with the bank and our different accounts, but I'm willing as part of the. Well, we'll have to see because we have to.
But see, I don't understand, I mean, as far as tracking the bridge loan in itself, if the money goes into the meter well replacement. And then you make the payment, to
Unified.
Unify. That when we get the money from the state, it will go into the meter well at the same amount of money. And then at that point, that's when it gets deposited, that's already a record, and then we can write a check to the bridge loan.
But that's not what we originally talked about with the.
I just think it's a lot of extra work to have another account and another account to keep track of, for that particular purpose. I mean, we already know every time we do a bridge loan, it's gonna be in a certain large amount of money. And I don't think that that's too hard to keep track of. And Tiffany does a great job of tracking that. She can, on her spreadsheet, she can put it in at with a column that says bridge loan. And then when we receive the money back, and then we bring it up and pay it back.
But you're also changing what we talked to self-help about.
Well,
Self-help doesn't care how we track it, as long as we have a system down that can show when we receive the money, when we paid it back. I mean, obviously, when we get the money from the state, it goes into the meter well replacement. There's a date that you deposit the account. From that date, you have 30 to 45 days to pay that money back. And in that time frame, we'd be writing a check, or however they want to do it, whether we transfer it back to them.
Deborah's not on here, right? You know,
and the bridge loan is only for the meter well. Right? It's not, I mean.
Yes,
we
it's only for
can't
the,
use it for.
right, it's only for the meter well.
So
Okay, number 11.
no, you need to vote.
Oh, excuse me.
If that's what we're gonna do.
Okay, I make a motion that we use the meter well account to receive the bridge loan funds, and also to pay back the bridge loan funds, and that we have Tiffany track that on her spreadsheets.
Do I have a second?
I will second that, but can we even vote on that? It's not on the agenda.
Under the bridge loan.
Under the bridge loan, yeah, we can.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
I'll abstain.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. We have 4-0, 1 abstention. Motion carried. Okay, number 11, discussion vote on.
Let me back up to the question I had.
Yes. Director Schoenberg would like to revisit one of the previous agenda items. Which item would that be?
I wanted to just,
Before we do that, could we finish D? Because I wanted to ask a question of Oscar
On the fund 12?
on what now,
Yeah.
other claims and payouts.
Go ahead, Director Nyman.
Oscar, do we have any idea when the state is gonna approve? I think it's claim either 9 or claim 10 that the $116,000 on progress payment 1 was made. When we might see those funds coming back to us?
I recall receiving Form 261 or 260, all from Lawrence. Give me a second. Let me double check my emails. And as far as I know, it was already approved. So I would imagine checks in the mail.
Okay, because we haven't received it yet, that's why I'm asking. Because progress payment 2, we already received and we already paid out to Unified. We paid out of our own funds, the 116,000 out of our own funds, and I'd like to see that come back to us and go back to our chip account.
I'm going through my emails. I recall seeing it either early this week or late last week.
Well, while you're looking at that, then
NA.
we can now we can have Director Schoenberg.
Oh, just in regards to the bridge loan, I just also want to let you know that the designated person designated to sign, we will need a signature for that as well, for that initial drawing from the bridge loan.
Okay.
So thank you. I can go back and look at the form we signed in.
Cause I,
Not the briefing.
no, Peggy, something.
Yeah.
Okay, going back to 10A, discussion vote update on well number 7.
I just have a question for you, Dee. I know you said that we were gonna have to wait on BC or whatever they're called now. What are they called?
Pace Analytical.
Pace Analytical, but what would it take for us to resample and send to the lab that's actually on top of things? Because I think it's been a very long time.
Well, we don't have a pump in that well anymore. We took that sample when we had the test pump in. So we'd have to install a pump in that well in order to extract a sample. So I think by the time we did that, it'd be better to get the results from the lab.
Okay. Is there a way to, has anybody talked to BC? Or Pace?
5 PSI. Say again, Lisa, you had a,
Have you talked to Pace to see what the issue is? Because I'm a little concerned because Johnny said they lost their accreditation.
Well, that was before, that's what.
Oh, they're okay now?
Yeah, they're fine now.
yeah, they're okay now.
Have you-
Curtis has been in contact with them.
Okay. Okay, it's a really, been very long.
Okay, number 11. Discussion vote on pipeline replacement project. A, discussion vote on potholing and mapping.
Well, at the last meeting, I think I told you that Matt McDonald was on vacation in Europe. He's back. And we're waiting for a little bit of weather, break in the weather in order to get Lyles back up for a couple of days of potholing to finish that out. But Matt is starting to work, is actually continuing to work on the design of the pipeline system for the Summit area. So we're moving ahead with the potholing. We'll finish that with a couple of days of field work and add a little bit more information to the plats that we have now. That'll fill in a couple of blanks that we thought would be best to fill in. And we have a little bit of budget left there to do that.
Okay. B, discussion vote on the project budget.
Can't do that yet.
Right now, we're within budget and we have plenty of budget left for the design portion of it, and we're starting on that. Well,
Okay.
we're working on that. We've been working on it.
But I think that really deals more with the application than the self-help budget. I mean, it's probably both, but. Which we can't do yet until we've done with the design.
C, discussion vote on the project plans and specs.
We're working on it. That's you know, we're actually working on design now.
Okay. Discussion vote up, on the project application.
That'll happen once we have the design.
Okay, once the design hits, so we'll carry that over.
Right.
Okay, 12. Discussion vote update on the urgent drinking water needs funding.
Tiffany.
Tiffany, you have the floor.
Okay. So they sent us something called I think it was a workbook, and it's some forms to fill out, including the detail of all the invoices and the budget and how much we're requesting in our claim and the claim forms. So I started on that today, and I got a good draft copy of all that. I sent it to Oscar, hoping he'll look it over and make sure I didn't do anything crazy. And then if we need it, we can always ask any questions to Mark. Did you get that email, Oscar?
I just got it earlier this evening, and I started to look at it. I did email you back to see if maybe we could go over it together on Monday.
Okay.
Like on a quick call and just go over it so that we can send it to Mark if there's anything else that's further needed on that.
Okay, I will give you a call.
I saw some questions I had with some of the numbers, but I mean, I can bring that up on Monday when we have that call.
Okay, perfect.
And we don't have to approve anything. We need to have you.
Put it in their format, the request in their format. They just want a detailed list of the invoices, the invoice numbers, dates, all the backup information.
Rama, can we go back real quick to the question you had for the meters pertaining to the disbursement?
Yeah.
The 116,000.
Yes.
You good? We were just waiting to figure out when we're gonna get paid.
So I just saw the email. It came that the disbursement for claim 10 was approved. And that's where that progress payment that you were talking about was coming from.
Okay.
So that email was sent on the 10th.
On the 10th, so we should be seeing it pretty soon.
Yeah.
Well,
At
whatever.
least 6 weeks after they sent the email.
Okay.
Okay, number 13.
Alrighty, and I think this is where we say goodnight.
Okay, good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
For everything.
All right.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night, Oscar. Discussion vote update on Cal OES Community Power Resiliency allocation to special districts grant. A, discussion vote update on purchasing the generators. Are you Johnny or Dean?
I went down, first Curtis went to verify that the generators were what they were supposed to be. Then I went down yesterday and seen them, examined them. I gave him that check you guys signed for 125,000 plus to cash out the rest of the grant money. Then I asked Tiffany and Deborah if to make sure that we're not even a dollar under the grant money. Did you guys get a chance to see that yet?
I haven't.
Well, they're gonna early next week, just to make sure we spend all that money. Then when we got a break in the weather, I'm supposed to get with Greg at PTS and he'll bring the generators out probably in 2 trips with his diesel. And I'll have to have a rented forklift here to offload them here in the yard. So. that's
Okay,
where
sounds
we're
good.
at.
B,
But not tomorrow when the
Not
weather's here.
No,
discussion vote on the engineering and design.
that'll be when we get the generator here.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and carry that over. So we take receipt of them. 14, discussion vote update on the district water tank replacement. A, discussion vote update on Elm Tank.
Yeah, me too. When the cost came in staggering, Curtis had told me that just 6 months ago, this similar tank was half as much. Obviously, we can't replace Elm Tank for that, so I started talking to the tank company Thompson Tank, about the viability of a welded patch. They came up with a couple of different options. One is a patch, one is a bolted on panel. So we could remove the drain, have whatever patch we go with installed and then refill the tank on the same day. So I'm working through the dynamics of that. I want to talk to Jesse Dollywall about we'll have to do a boil notice. Cause we're gonna drain it. But so I'll give you guys an update on the next regular meeting as far as that goes.
And then we'll have also the cost of that, or?
Well, we already got that. That's time and materials. So I got an email already on that. It's, roughly, don't quote me on this, roughly $300 an hour to do it. Some of the work we would be doing, like digging down underneath the tank to the drain. So when they get there and they cut out the drain, we could pull out the piping out from underneath it. Then they could do their bolt-on patches and stuff. So, that's a heck of a lot less than a staggering $1 million for a tank.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Director Schoenberg.
Ramifications of the drain being, so the drain still exists, and becomes part of the piece that they put on?
No.
Or there's no drain?
No, the drain would be removed and then I'm gonna have them drill a hole through the side of the tank. It's called a bulk, well, I call it a bulkhead fitting. It's a fitting that screws on from the inside and outside. And then we'll just stub a smaller drain, probably a 3-inch drain out the side, like a lot of them are now. And have that run over to our drain. So we'll still have drain through the bottom of the floor and rusty.
Okay, discussion vote on parcel B.
That I brought up because we need to at least start entertaining the notion that we need to try to get some funding, and possibly an emergency grant for that, because and I say try to get an emergency through maybe USDA, because it's a tank that we shouldn't have expected to fail so fast. It's leaking horribly. There's houses directly below it that would definitely be a liability. I've asked our diver already to schedule as soon as he can to dive that again and give us he said he already knows what the recommendation is, tear it down and replace it. He knows how bad it is, but I figured that we would need that, but he won't dive a tank up here in the mountains in the winter. For some reason, he doesn't want to swim in 30-degree water. I don't. So Diver Dan is going to put us on the schedule, but I don't know how you want to proceed with, and if you want to proceed with getting a grant.
Director Schoenberg.
So I'm concerned that the USDA may ask us to use the replacement money for that, which is far short of what we would need. I think there's only like $100,000 or something in there. That could possibly be used in conjunction with something, but I think that, we need to talk to them, but we may also want to talk to the state, because the state may also be able to help us with an emergency for that.
I would agree. And would you like me to go down and talk to Dan Johnson next week? I'll talk to Dan and see what suggestions he has,
Yeah,
because he's so nice, and forthcoming with information.
Yes.
Cool, I'll do that.
he's very real with us.
Yeah.
He's great. I wish he was still
Me too.
main guy.
Yes. Okay, anybody want to take a break? Okay, we'll pop through it. Number 15.
I think you're done, Dee.
I just have one other piece of information. If we could go back to 14A on the Elm tank.
Go ahead, Dee, you have the floor.
We did look at what we possibly could do by installing a smaller tank on the Elm tank site that would provide us, around 150,000 gallons. And so we took a look at a couple of alternatives, but we don't, we save a couple $100,000. And as you recall, I think our bid was about 940,000. So we could install a tank that would be about 32 feet in diameter. The one that we have now is I think about, well, I can't tell you what that one is. I think it's 38 feet, about 39 feet in diameter and 24 feet high. We could put a 32-foot diameter tank on that site. Then we could use it until we get the funding for the regional project, and we could disassemble the existing tank, the existing Elm tank, and build a new one at that location as well, which would double the amount of storage that we have. Just
Yeah.
information for.
D, it's highly unlikely that we'll have enough money to cover that.
I
think it's a better solution to do what Johnny's suggesting for the moment, because I think parcel B, if it's in danger of failing, is a lot more critical as far as the houses directly below it, that it would wash out, I think. So, if we're able to limp along for a little while with patching Elm until we can get the construction funds for if we get the construction funds for the consolidation, or until we could build up our chip fund again a little bit greater, I think that's a better solution.
I agree, Lisa. I just wanted you guys to know that we looked at it, and we don't save that much money. So, we're still looking at $750,000 for even that smaller tank. So,
Thank you, D.
All right, D.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Dee. Have a
We're
good
done.
evening.
Have a good evening. Have a good weekend.
hey, thank you very much, and same to you folks. Hopefully, you'll not get too much snow.
Well, hopefully we'll get too much snow and we get hunkered down.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And maybe the pond will come back and that would be wonderful.
Miracle.
Okay, number 15. Discussion vote on forming standing committees, accounts payable committee, financial committee, state update meeting committee. Who would like to address that? Director Schoenberg?
Okay, I'd like to move, let's start one at a time. I'd like to move that we disband the ad hoc for the accounts payable committee, since it's definitely something that happens every single month, twice a month, and will continue into the future, and that then becomes a standing committee.
With
And
same
that we
people?
keep the same people on it currently. Now, I have a question though. Can a standing committee switch people? Okay, so when we do this, okay, great. So yes,
Is that a motion?
that's my motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call directors, Director Nyman,
Abstain.
Director Schoenberg,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Abstain.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. We have 3-0, 2 abstentions, motion carried.
Along those lines, we need to set an exact meeting date. So would that be, I prefer it not to be Wednesday, because I feel like we get the information really late, and for those of us that aren't on that committee, it's really difficult. I really think it needs to possibly be like a Tuesday afternoon.
Well, the problem with Tuesday afternoon is that sometimes you don't get all the bills.
We try to do it just before the bills.
I get that, but literally we get that information like at the very end of the day on Wednesdays. And when it's a lot of information, there's no way to like make any changes, do anything, say anything, it's just. I mean, we were doing it on Tuesday, so.
Oh, wait. Okay. We go through the invoices. And then we. Okay, them,
recommend stuff, but
and then you guys, then you wanna come in and review it and
No,
change something?
we review it so that we can make the changes during this meeting,
Right,
during whatever meetings we have,
It's the
but it
board
doesn't.
right.
Give us a lot of time to look, so you're like, if I have other appointments on Thursday, basically, it gives very little time to look at it. So I find that problematic, it's always been problematic when we're doing it on Wednesdays, we did it periodically on Wednesdays before when we really had to.
I think we've done it on Wednesdays for a long time, but,
Okay,
well, I'm just,
get it.
I think the problem is because the one that's the most,
Deborah's not here.
well, I mean,
I don't know if we can call her and after to come
Tiffany,
back on.
Tiffany, please take the floor.
My only suggestion is, or just to explain the process first, so. Once the ad hoc is able to review the invoices, it goes back to Deborah. And she, for the regular meeting, then starts working on producing the reports. Then she produces reports, I scan them, print them, and create the board packet, so that's kind of the timing on that.
Which means it's
The
end of the Wednesday.
usually the afternoon of Wednesday is when that's done. The only way if they meet on Wednesday is if you want me to split out the board packets. Meaning have everything ready Tuesday. That's one type of board packet, then Wednesday the financials can come out.
But she wants the financials before the other stuff.
Yeah, if it's
Not
just a
before the other stuff.
financial.
Okay, we can do Tuesday. I don't care. We'll do Tuesday, and if there's any other checks that need to be cut, then Deborah will just have to cut them separately and do a separate report. I mean, that's
Like the handwritten
because,
ones we used to
because
do on
whatever they get in on Wednesday, because some of these things don't come in time for her to like some, like the SCE and all those, sometimes she doesn't have them all, so.
We don't have it coming in.
Deborah's had me for a couple of those, like SEE, go online and print the bill if it doesn't come in before she needs it.
So Tuesday's fine with me.
Okay,
What time? Because. I'll have to put it-
11 o'clock. Is that fine? Do we want to do 11 on Tuesdays most of the time?
Tuesday at 9 o'clock, I don't care.
Well, I mean, I think we need to give Deborah time to work on things. Can we leave the time up to Deborah? Can we? No, what I'm saying is, can we leave it up to her, wait till she says, so that we can agree on a time? And leave it up for us three to make the time on Tuesday, and then it'll be an established time? Can we do that in the motion?
Or if Deborah really says it has to be Wednesdays, then it has to be Wednesdays.
Well, I mean, we've talked to her about it, and that's the reason we usually do it on Wednesdays, because she's told us that she doesn't get everything, and she would like to get everything that she can. So she doesn't have to either carry over 2 weeks or get somebody, somebody from the board to then approve an invoice for her to write a check.
I think part of the problem was actually that she wasn't having enough time to do stuff when the financial ad hoc was also meeting on Tuesdays, so I think that's the bigger issue. If the financial ad hoc meets on a different day, then it probably is not. She needs all of Monday and part of Tuesday to do stuff, and maybe Wednesday. I don't know, is there a way for us to, we have to set it in this meeting, correct?
Do you want me to?
Yeah, let's just,
Well, I asked her if she can join back on.
She doesn't have to, she can. If she's
Calling her?
on speaker.
I just know that we were trying to do Tuesdays for a while, and then it went back to Wednesdays again, because that had been an issue in the past of our previous bookkeeper.
Well, we used to do it here in the meeting. We would sign checks and go through everything in the meeting.
Well, yeah,
That's problematic.
Yeah.
That's why we started doing it outside. Because it takes too long. It's a lot of review and a lot of things that need to be done with that.
I sent the text Bruce just to see if she's quick and responding before I. Oh. Okay, she's here, she's available. Do you want her? On my,
She could just, you could just do it right
Speaker.
on the speakerphone of your phone if you want. So she doesn't have to come back on Zoom. It's just a quick question. I just want to make sure it's not, I mean, I know what works for me, but I don't want to like give her undue pressure either.
let's see if that. Hey, Deborah, it's Tiffany. So the board had a question and let me know if you're able to hear them because I'm on my speakerphone. Hey.
So Deborah, we're forming a standing committee for the financial, or not for the financial, for the accounts payable committee. And I brought up that I have an issue when we do it on Wednesdays because the board packet goes out very late in the day and it's very difficult to really review it. However, I don't want to put undue pressure on you if Tuesday does not work. And if Tuesday does work, we were trying to find out what time works best on Tuesday. If we're always getting some critical bills on Wednesday and not on Tuesdays, then I guess we need to leave it on Wednesday, but we need to have a set day and time. And I was suggesting we go back to Tuesdays, which gives a little bit more time for the rest of the board to review the information that isn't part of that committee. But I wanted to make sure that we consulted with you because I don't want to make a decision that's not based in, the person who knows the most about it.
Which meeting, first meeting of the month is usually the largest packet. And we want to make sure that a lot of those critical bills come in. Have addressed the issue with the Edison bill, so I think, that would not be an issue, whether it was Tuesday or Wednesday. But it's hard to say. I like having it on Tuesday so that it's not, I feel rushed on Wednesday.
Okay, so what time on Tuesday would you like it to be, Deborah?
11 o'clock, or, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, 11 o'clock's fine with me. How about you, Terry?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Deborah.
Okay, thank you. That's
So
what
what
we
about the
needed.
financial committee?
Do you have a
Oh.
preference for if the financial committee has a standing time, which I don't know, that one gets a little interesting, but do you have a preference on a Wednesday, what time that would be? Or because Monday is too hard because you're usually doing bills on a Monday, right? Unless we did it on a opposite week of if we did it on a week where you don't have any issue with having to do the bills, then that would work on a Monday as well, correct? Okay, so if we really need it to be more than once, it could be like a first and third, so the accounts payable could be a second and fourth Tuesday, and then if we need to do the financial, it could be a first and third, even Monday, right? What works best for you and what time? It could be a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
Trying to get your mindset. So I would say avoid the Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday would be fine.
So if we did the same thing, like a 10 or 11 on a Tuesday on the first and third, as opposed to the second and fourth? Okay. I think that's good because we already have a date. We have to do the state update, so.
Well,
Okay,
we need to word it as not second and fourth because isn't it? Well, I guess it is the second.
it's usually the second and fourth, but it'll get a little tricky on like holiday. But then I guess we just would make sure we didn't meet unless we'll have to figure that out. I don't know how that'll work.
I have a question.
Sometimes there might not.
Hold on.
Right, I think, I don't know how that, we have to read up on it, because if it's a standing committee, do we really have to meet each time, or do we, that's where it gets really.
They
No.
just cancel the meeting.
Yeah,
You don't need it.
Okay.
and before you have a question, Becky, the other
Yeah,
thing is
okay,
that,
these-
like, if
These
If the-
standing committees. Okay, do I have the floor or no?
Go ahead.
On the standing committees, Tiffany said we need to have an agenda. So does that mean Tiffany's got to sit in with us and take notes?
Well, if we don't, so what I understood from what we were discussing with Tiffany is that and I think we can probably, if your question, we can let Deborah go. Right? Okay, so, okay, so yeah, my understanding is that we probably could just do minutes unless there was because we're not taking action on anything, we have to take the action in this meeting. The minutes would just reflect that we showed up and we met. And that would not mean that Tiffany needs to sit in on everything, she would just, unless, because we can't make a decision as a standing committee, we can only, I guess we could, but we're not really supposed to. So, I don't think she should take notes. Except for the state update meeting, which is different.
Okay,
Any other questions?
last one.
Thank you, Deborah. Bye.
Bye, thank you. State Update Meeting Committee,
Well, no, we haven't even done the other.
but we're talking about Financial Committee.
No,
Just got the date
we
down.
just got the dates for the accounts payable.
Now, I will move that we,
Before you move that, do we have to do the financial committee? Which I guess so, because there's always gonna be an audit and there's always gonna be but it doesn't always have, it's not as regular as the accounts payable committee, because in between, yes, right now we have a lot of work to do, but I don't know if it's more like quarterly we talked about.
Go ahead, Timmy.
Yeah, you're on the right track. So if the financial committee, Deborah was talking about meeting quarterly to review the finances. That way it's not all at once for the audit at the end of the year and you're trying to work really fast and play catch up. That way it's reviewed. If you do the standing committee as a quarterly, that would work. The financial ad hoc committee could be, as long as it's for a specific purpose that ends. So if you're working on an audit, you form a financial committee, they work on the audit and then they're done. And then if the financial committee is working on the budget, then there's the ad hoc committee that works on the budget, creates it, and then it's done. So they have an ending date. It's a task and an ending date, which makes it an ad hoc. It's just a regular meeting, a set time and date for a regular meeting with people.
So I think it would make sense. Because I don't know, because the budget always takes a while, the audit always takes a while, I don't know, it could go either way, but I think it probably makes more sense to do it quarterly. And then do the other parts as an ad hoc. But then we'd have to vote on that ad hoc each time, right?
Yeah, for each task.
So maybe it's better to just do it as a standing committee and then just not meet every single time.
well, because so whatever you and Becky have been working on, That's what you guys are working on, and that's what the financial committee is.
Yes, but it changes because it encompasses the budget, it encompasses the audit. And it encompasses the getting rid of the capital, the
Asset list.
asset list. Book assets. So I mean, there's enough stuff to meet, maybe it just needs to meet once a month, and then if. I don't know though, because then how do you deal with if you have to meet a second?
That's why I think that part can be an ad hoc committee. Because it's for the task, the financial, it can go as long as it needs to go. Until the task is completed, but if you're working on an audit. Then you have an ad hoc committee, if you need to work on a budget, you have an ad hoc.
But the finance committee is always gonna quarterly now from now on.
If you choose to
Check.
do that,
Yeah.
yeah, then that could be a quarterly standing.
Okay.
So what are we doing?
Whatever you guys wanna make a motion, I can't make the motion. I'm gonna be abstaining.
I know that, but I don't know what we wanna, I mean,
So.
I don't know how to make a motion, because I'm not
Understanding what.
I'm not
needs to be done.
understanding what you want as an ad hoc, or how you're
Okay,
gonna
so let-
differentiate.
Play out what I think should happen. Even though I shouldn't really do that, it's influencing, but okay, so I think that. Quarterly, we talked to Deborah about always going over stuff, so like the accounts payable committee does. Quarterly, we need to go through all of the stuff, it may take like 2 meetings that quarter, so it probably. Whatever the quarter is, we should set up 2 meetings for that month. On the first and third Tuesday. So, and then. Anything else, when there's like a lot of meetings that need to happen, which would be. The budget, which we need to do, which is coming up again, or actually it's passed, but we'll have to definitely do it, another one. And then the book asset, we went through quite a bit of stuff already, so that hopefully doesn't take very long. So I guess what would happen is that those would be ad hoc, so you wouldn't need to make any motion regarding those. The only motion you would need to make would be regarding the standing committee, which Deborah was suggesting quarterly.
But what are we gonna call that?
It's the same thing, it would be the financial
Well, because you wanna differentiate, because right now you have a financial committee ad hoc. That,
And you
I
can't
think
have,
the name.
you can't have the two.
the name has to be different, I would
I
think.
don't know if it does, because the same thing's gonna happen with the state update. We have the state update, but then we also have all the projects where we have to meet. Which may not be able to be agendized if we're going, if we're talking about the nitrate analyzer or something,
You can, I mean, it would be convenient to give it another name. So you can call it.
How about the financial quarterly committee?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay, so I make a
or the
motion.
quarterly financial.
I make a motion that we establish a quarterly financial standing committee that will meet quarterly two times in that month, the first and third at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. Of the first and third of that quarter.
So what are the quarters?
January, March.
April.
Yeah.
Do I have a second on that?
Second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Who's in that committee?
And that includes Director Schoenberg, our bookkeeper, Deborah, and Becky Gibson. Director Gibson.
Okay. Roll call,
That friendly.
I accept that friendly amendment.
roll call of directors. Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Abstain.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, Director Gibson,
Abstain.
Director Garcia is an aye. We have 3-0, 2 abstention, motion carried. Okay,
Yay.
Okay, so
One more.
una más
The state update meeting
committee.
committee is.
Was
I'll
that-
move that we establish a state update meeting standing committee. And have Director Nyman and Director Schoenberg on that committee
On the third
On the-
Thursday of every month at 10 a.m.
on the third Thursday of every month at 10 a.m.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Nyman,
abstain.
Director Schoenberg,
Abstain.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 3-0, 2 abstentions. Motion carried. Number
And then,
7,
I
Go
just
ahead.
have a question. Do we then need to also vote to keep? No, because the ad hocs already exist, so we don't need to worry about. Yeah.
okay. Number 17, review and approve meeting
That's
minutes.
16.
I'm sorry. Number 16, discussion vote on the quote for a new copy machine lease.
Yeah. Lease is up on the. The guy. Eric Schulman. really-
Nice letter. I thought it was,
Yeah, he's really cool. He, looked at what we've been doing for copies, figured out, how to get us a much better machine. It's some kind of piggyback pricing on Ventura School to get us a better machine. And we end up paying a little bit less. We've been paying $319 a month. We'll be paying $289.79 plus tax. For the upgraded machine. It's faster and new, so we don't have problems. So I'd recommend you approve it.
Okay, I have one question, because I was looking at his contract page. And in his thing here, he says that it's an allowance of 1,050 color copies a month.
Yeah.
And on his thing here, it just says
Brochure.
includes 1,050 color copies, and it doesn't say a month. Where it says it on the black and white. It says
Okay, so before the contract's signed, we'll all make sure
and all
that
that.
that's added in there. That's just a little typo. If you approve it, he'll get the contract ready.
Right, which I have no problem, I'm just
And then I'll
bringing
make a
it,
note right now to tell him that.
yeah.
Excellent. And that's like your main office machine, right?
Yeah, this is right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll make a
Did
motion,
they take the other one back?
Yeah.
So-
Scanner thing?
Go ahead.
so I make a
Oh, no,
motion.
they didn't take that back. They're good.
Director Nyman, please.
I make a motion that we approve the new service contract for the copier. In the amount of $289.79 plus tax, with the change of making sure that it also says the color copies is per month.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call of directors. Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, Director Kelly.
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye, 5-0-0. Motion carried. Number 17, review and approve meeting minutes for 2/16/23 state update meeting and 1/26/23 regular state planning and project meeting.
I make a motion that we approve the state update,
Can't.
huh?
Oh, the state ones, okay.
Thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the state update meeting minutes for Thursday, February 16th, 2023, with any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous to and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments for typos or other errors that we may have caught or that may need to be corrected.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg, Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Abstain.
Director Garcia is an aye, 4-0, 1 abstention. Motion carried. And- Ooh, we'll do it.
Okay, Google. There.
Director
Research.
Garcia,
Speaking.
hi, this is Joan. Could I request a copy of the minutes from the 216 state update meeting be emailed to me?
Tiffany, can you take care of that?
You want the 216?
Yes, please.
Your wish is our command. You will
Thank you.
have them. Now, the regular state planning and project meeting minute.
Okay, yeah. I move that we approve the minutes for Thursday, January 26, 2023. With any of the amendments that were sent to Tiffany previous and after the meeting, as well as any additional amendments or typos or other errors that may have not been caught or that may need to be corrected.
I was
I'll
second.
second that.
Oh, you can't.
Oh, I wasn't at that.
Do I have a second?
Gibson asked to second it.
Was Gibson there?
She was on a teleconference.
Waiting on your second, Ms. Director Gibson.
I can't second it. I wasn't sworn in yet.
I can say.
Oh, that's right.
Second.
Well, you can second it, but then how are we gonna approve?
I don't.
We can't.
She's just
Oh, wait.
seconding minutes. It's not.
No, you can't second minutes that you want.
She wasn't technically, she wasn't supposed to be there, and those two weren't there, so actually technically we should have been.
Director Schoenberg.
Well, just let it pass.
Yes. Let it go. I'm sorry. Yes, you can second them.
Okay, I'll second.
Okay, so the motion has been made and seconded. Roll call of directors. Director Nyman,
Abstain.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Abstain.
Director Garcia is an aye. 3. Okay, 3-0, 1 abstention. 2 abstentions, excuse me. Motion carried. Number 18, any discussion or suggestions for future agenda items?
Tiffany's got it all right.
Not seeing any, I think we've got it covered. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
A motion has been made and seconded. Roll call directors. Director Nyman,
Aye.
Director Schoenberg,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Aye.
Director Gibson,
Aye.
Director Garcia is an aye. 5-0-0. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Everybody